Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. TLR, the Ludicrous Report. It's been a few weeks, and in the words of the great band Stained, it's been a while. So with me, as always, the great Diva Incarnate. She's the Demon Diva. She is Issa. How are you?
I'm doing good, Joey. I miss talking pop culture news with you, so I'm excited to be back.
I know. I missed it too, and I saw everything you were posting in between, all your wrestling stuff. And I'm like, oh man, I miss talking to her. It's been a little while, and all the great pop culture stuff that's happened in between our little hiatus. But I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be talking to you, and I'm happy that we're having a great Tuesday so far. So there's so much pop culture news out there this week. A lot of different topics. Kathy Griffin being suspended from Twitter. Elon Musk taking over
Twitter on its own could be a whole hour episode with this whole Elon Musk takeover and everything that has gone down.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if because I feel like that's borderline pop culture / tech news, but it's just been insane.
There's some stuff with Lindsey Lohan. There's some stuff with Captain America. Ashton Kutcher is making headlines again. So there's a lot of different things that we can touch on. So I guess we can kind of start off with a big one. Chris Evans, everybody knows him as the great actor, but mostly for his roles as Captain America. He was voted 2022 Sexiest Man Alive.
Of course it was.
What's your...
That's America's ass, Joey. Come on.
You found this headline. You brought it to the table.
Damn, he exposed me. I was like, we are going to talk about Captain America being the sexiest man alive, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, we have to. We're going to acknowledge first off, acknowledge our big dog, the tribal chief right there. But we're going to acknowledge the sexiest man alive. And I figured you can kind of take the reins on that one because Captain America, he's Captain America.
He's Captain America, and I feel like they took too long to name him the sexiest man alive, if I'm being honest with you. I thought this was long overdue. The man is not only sexy, but he's wholesome, he's likable, his engagement. You don't hear any scandals about him. One of my favorite things, I even have it downloaded on my YouTube download, is a video, that interview of him with the puppies. I don't know if you've ever seen it. But it's like one of the most wholesome things I ever seen, where they throw these actors in a room full of puppies and try to ask them questions and see if they can stay focused without playing with the dogs. And he was like, he was so cute. But no, I agree with this one. I agree with this one. I don't really pay much attention to this, like, People's Magazine Sexiest Man Alive. It wasn't a thing. Like, for a couple of years I felt it was a big deal, and then I was just like, yeah, it's not anymore. Like, I started questioning the choices that they made. But on this one, I 100% agree. I think the guy, he's just perfect. He's in a really good spot right now.
Do you know any other people who've won this, I guess, prestigious?
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey won it. I believe Ben Affleck won it. I am so sorry that I just forgot his name, but may he rest in peace. The guy from Black Panther that passed away, he won it. It's a big deal, It's just fun. I'm glad that we're still doing it because, I'm sorry, but society has changed and it feels very sexist, right, to be labeling the sexiest person alive. But there's a couple of names that have won it that at that time they were like the hottest thing. The Rock has won it. There's a couple of people that wins in years in which you feel like they are the hottest. However, I do not recall a project that he's involved in, a big project this year, which is why I meant this is long overdue. You could have done it when Infinity War Games or End Games was like at its peak, right? But like for him to get it now is kind of weird. It doesn't matter. And just my opinion on this whole thing is just long overdue. And my favorite thing about it was the news report that I sent you. It's like the most excited person. Newsflash, it's not me, it's his mother.
I saw that.
Imagine having that conversation with your mom, like, okay, mom, well, this week I'm gonna be filming this movie, I'm gonna be doing this TV show. Oh yeah, and People Magazine named it the sexiest man alive, and the mom going, well, you are. Like, how weird would that be?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I am not a mom myself, but I am an aunt of 3 nephews. and I hype them
You
up
are a
so
mom.
much that I can.
You're a dog mom.
Yeah, but but I do hype up my nephews to the point that if one of them were to win this, I will probably be the most excited person. So I can see the
Of course.
non-weird faction of it. But it's cute. It's cute that Mama was waiting for this moment for her son.
I never really looked into the. I've always seen this award like on magazine covers. Like I'm in a store and you see the sexiest man alive, and I'm like, whatever. I don't really care for that stuff. But honestly, now that we're talking about it, Chris Evans, I think, he's the overall package for what you look for a representative of that type of award or something along those lines. I mean, this guy has a successful career in Hollywood, not only doing, and it's very hard to do what he does because I know for one, Matthew McConaughey he's had trouble breaking out of the rom-com, genre, where he stopped acting because all the roles he was given is rom-com.
I'm not a rom-com person, but some of my favorite Matthew McConaughey movies are actually not rom-coms.
Yeah. I saw an interview with him or a doc. I don't know. He did something. I think it was when he was promoting his book that he quit. He stepped away from acting because he couldn't get roles other than rom-coms. And he just was saying no to everybody. And it got to the point where they kind of just like said, kind of screw him. Because he wanted to break into other atmospheres in acting. And Chris Evans, I mean, he's been able to do that successfully. And then go over and be Captain America and do all these like action cinematic movies, and then also do like more serious movies. Like he's been able to dabble in everything. Plus, obviously it's a positive not having any celebrity drama or he said, she said,
so
dating
scandals
or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He's the overall, like I said, the overall package. Great actor.
Yeah, like sometimes they cast these superheroes, and maybe I might sound a little bit geeky here because I do love Avengers and I do love that franchise.
Yeah.
But they cast these superheroes, and there's something about Chris Evans that I think I can actually see him being Captain America. If a Captain America existed, he's so perfect for that role, right? And I feel the same way about Iron Man. Like, I thought that Robert Downey Jr. did an incredible job at that role, but there's some roles that Exhibit A, the Hulk was replaced. If you watch the original Hulk and the Hulk, and you get where I'm going with this, it's a different Hulk, and it doesn't make a difference. No, I don't want another Captain America in these movies, right? And I do think, like, to your point, the sexiest man alive, just maybe back 10, 15 years ago, People Magazine made it about looks. To me, it feels like we're going beyond that. Like we're gonna find a good guy, a wholesome, that's good looking, that doesn't have all that drama that everybody loves. Find me one person that has something negative to say about him. Like, and there isn't one, and that's something that should be looked at.
He has a very similar like aesthetic to John Cena, where they're considered like the all-American.
Bye, Joey. Bye. Show's over. Goodbye.
No, but like John Cena's looked at as that guy, like the all-American, clean cut, formal, no tattoos. Like that's like a very, I don't know, an aesthetic, I guess. And Chris Evans, is the top of that. He's John Cena. We'll put John Cena at the bottom of that. But
I bet you John Cena, if you buy the actual magazine, I guarantee you John Cena is probably somewhere on there. Or sometimes they do like a sexiest over 40 list. You know what I mean? Like there's like a bunch of categories, but if you buy the actual edition of the magazine, there is like, it goes on. So it's not he's the sexiest, but they go into like different categories. I guarantee you John Cena, The Rock, there's gonna be a handful of people that we know in there. I'm gonna say you blog post Conan O'Brien wrote years ago, but it's one of my most favorite things. Like he talk about how he was going to win the sexiest man alive, and he wrote a blog for People Magazine about it. It is the funniest. It's one of the funniest things I ever read. I'll send it to you later.
Oh man, no, but I'll
tweet it out. I'll tweet it out so our viewers can read it, because they're going to get such a laugh out of it, because it's Conan O'Brien humor, and I absolutely love his humor.
Oh, that guy is fantastic. He is fantastic. Yeah. But to another point here with, Chris Evans being the sexiest man alive, if you look at The Rock, being labeled the sexiest man alive, people idolize him because like he's a superhero-esque character or person. Chris Evans is more relatable, where I think a lot of people will look at him and say, you know what, like I can look like that. You know, it's not like being like this big guy in the ring, like in the gym. Like there's a lot of relatable aspects to Chris Evans where I think it kind of can help guys' confidence.
Yeah, agree. Because you look at The Rock and he shares his routine, which I think is insane. Like how he talks about he gets like 3 hours of sleep. He's at the gym at 4 a.m. No. Chris Evans looks like he works out, but he takes that extra hour or two to cuddle in bed with his dog. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like he's not gonna get up at 4. He's gonna look at the time and look at his dog that looks so cuddly and go like, yeah, I'll go a little later. Which is more relatable for most of us, you know.
I think so.
But that's the thing. Like The Rock is just he's on a different level, and shout out to him, right? Like the way that this man has managed to stay relevant and become bigger as the years go by is incredible. But yeah, I agree with you. I do think that Chris Evans has a sense of like a relatable sense to him. Yeah. That a lot of people and I think a lot of men admire. Like when you talk to people about, you know, your favorite Avenger, this and that, he gets mentioned a lot.
Yeah. But there's different topics here that we're going to jump into. And I think to kind of segue from this, we can kind of jump into another one where kind of along the lines of superheroes. And we can talk about, it's going to be a little strange. Ashton Kutcher. This guy, I know I just compared Ashton Kutcher to a superhero, but
Chris Evans nonetheless too. So.
Right.
Actually, what he did, you're about to tell us, is superhero status. I don't care what anybody.
Superhero status. Yeah. Ashton Kutcher ran the New York City Marathon, and might I add, under 6 hours.
Wow.
I think it was 5 hours and 54 minutes, like right under 6 hours. He finished it, and he raised over $1 million for his nonprofit. It's called Thorn. And if
I know about Thorn a lot.
Who don't know Thorn, it's basically a project or nonprofit that he has to basically help with sex trafficking and different kids issues, abuse online on the internet. So I think it's really cool to acknowledge that as well. But a lot of great things. I was watching the interview that he did on the Today Show for this marathon, and he basically said he started training like 6 or 7 months ago for this marathon, and he got injured, and it was a whole thing, and he'd be able to power through it, and he did it. Pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's incredible, amazing. As a matter of fact, on a side note, shout out to my friend April, who finished the New York City Marathon. I think marathon runners are just beasts. That's just not something that everybody can take on. And when I lived in New York, I saw so many coworkers. Not me, I can't relate. The one thing that I done is the Empire State Building stairs climbing thing that you do for charity as well. I did that event a couple of years. Oh God, I hurt just thinking about it. But anyways, the whole point is I seen so many people, like coworkers, training for it, getting injured, like it's insane. Or people that finish it and then you don't see them at work for like the next week because they literally can't move. So it's incredible that Ashton Kutcher was able to do it, and not just do it for such a good cause. Like the whole tour and raising over $1 million for his charity is absolutely incredible. And I feel like it actually went under the radar. When you told me about it is when I found out. It wasn't like I didn't see it everywhere. And I look up, I go into a lot of pop culture news and websites right before we sit down just to see what I can find as well. And I actually didn't see this headline. So when you told me about it, I was like, why wasn't this everywhere? This is worth talking about.
Excuse me. Yeah, and it's funny because there's a lot of other celebrities who've done this as well. Let's see here. Casey Neistat did it. He did it in 3 hours.
My God, he was doing it with the Logan Paul water. Did you see it?
Yes.
He only drank Prime throughout it, and he was taking pictures of it. Oh man, Logan Paul's everywhere, man.
Chelsea Clinton did it. Let's see. A few Broadway.
Not me. I'm one of the people cheering them on from the side of the road. Like I
Me too.
actually cheer marathon runners on the side of the road. I think those people are just as important. Thank you very much.
Yeah. They're the support team. You need them. If without them,
Yeah.
exactly. And Ellie Kemper too. I don't know if you're familiar with Ellie Kemper. She was on The Office. She was Unbreakable
Oh
Kimmy.
yeah.
Yeah, she did it too. And it's just really cool to see like not normal people, like celebrities, like participating in these things and doing it for a good cause. So it's really, I think it's inspiring to see just all this take place in general. Like, we have people going for it, regular people like you and I, and then you see these big time celebrities and movie stars.
Yeah,
And
that's my
they're,
friend. She's a mom
yeah,
of three, and I'm like, and there she is running marathons. Like, listen, more props to you. How do you feel about celebrities coming into like certain sports or doing these kind of things? Because obviously I know I mentioned him, and we're not gonna go into wrestling, but there's been a lot of banter in regards to like Logan Paul coming to WWE, or like
yeah,
the Paul brothers in the boxing industry. Now we're talking about celebrities running marathons, which I do think this is a little bit different.
yeah.
But how do you feel about that? Because sometimes I feel like people think, okay, these people go viral or get rich out of one thing, and they just like, a lot of times people will say they have no talent. And it's like, okay, when they challenge themselves to do more, then they also get criticized for branching out into different things. Like, I don't understand where the happy medium is with the public perception of celebrities anymore.
I feel like I could do like a whole show just on this topic,
Yeah.
because for me, I kind of sway back and forth, and it's really hard to find that fine line as to, is it right or is it wrong? If you look back to, and I know you're a big fan of him, Bad Bunny coming into wrestling, like, you would never think Bad Bunny would be like wrestling, but he did a great job.
I did. But Bunny's he's a big mark. He's a big mark. And if you, when I found Bad Bunny was because of one of his original music videos back in 2017, and he had Ric Flair in it. That's how I found him.
Yeah.
I was like, "Do you see this Puerto Rican rapper with Ric Flair in his video?" And I'm like, "No." Yeah. So it's funny that he's always. However, I started following him back then, and I have seen that he's just not the kind of person to go into a project and, pardon my French, half-ass it. He doesn't go into something just to put his name on it and walk away.
Yeah.
So as a fan, I knew that he was gonna kill it or do his very best to just at least, show a good performance. But to your point, I don't think anybody expected it.
Here's my thing. Here's my thing. You look at boxing. What happened to boxing with all these influencers and different people coming in? It kind of started with like Conor McGregor, like a UFC champion, going over to box. And
I've never seen anything like that. When McGregor faced Mayweather, I had never seen anything like. And boxing hadn't been cool in years. Yeah. It hadn't. I'm sorry, it lost its popularity after the 90s. Well, Mayweather kind of like did it, but it was nowhere near when Mike Tyson will fight. Like, I lived through those days, and those days were hype. Nothing felt like that until McGregor entered the boxing world with Mayweather. That whole thing was a spectacle. And it was a you had to be there kind of thing,
And then all the influencers, came in, and the Jake Pauls, the Logan Pauls, and it kind of changed my perception of boxing, where it kind of took away the prestige of it. Like, I look in my head, like you said, to Mike Tyson, like that Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield era of boxing. That to me is what boxing was all about. And it switched to become dollar signs and is it rigged? Is it, you have to, now you're doubting and you're questioning, and it's really, it's breaking the kayfabe in a sense, where it's taking away the whole meaning of it. And then
I do question the influencers when I watch, and call me stupid, right? But when I go back and watch McGregor and Mayweather, it didn't feel rigged. Like that didn't feel rigged, right? And there's but there is a couple of, and then there's a couple of fights that I watch. Like you said, it takes a little bit away from it. I always tell people I watch wrestling to be entertained. I love the in-ring skills, but I want to be entertained. If I want to watch some real fights, I'll go watch UFC. I go watch boxing. So I never want to question the reality, or is this rigged or not, because that's what I watch for, real fighting. I watch my wrestling for a whole different purpose.
Yeah, and then you look back at, like, I don't know if you're familiar. I think we talked about it before, like the TikTokers, all like the Bryce Halls,
the TikTok versus YouTube mess.
And then they came in and they did that whole event, and I understand the point of it, but that to me tarnished what boxing is all about. And I really think that they killed the sport of boxing. Like, who do you know today as a professional boxer that's left?
My cousin.
There you go.
I know. I have a cousin that boxes here in Puerto Rico, and they did an influencer fight recently, and he got to co-main event. And I gotta say, he's very good. And when you talk about it that way, I feel offended, because I'm watching one of my cousins like get up at 4 a.m. every day to go train, because he never stays out of shape. Even if he doesn't have a fight like signed up for, he stays in shape. That way, when he gets a fight, he's ready to go. So he does it every day, right? So when I see something like that, yes, I take offense, because I'm like, no, you don't know what it's all about. 100%. Now here, they've been doing influencing boxing, which I don't like, because I feel like Puerto Rico is such a special place for, especially for boxing. Like we have 100%. Tito Trinidad, Hector, and Macho Camacho. Like we there's so many great boxers that were born here, Cotto, a lot of them. So, but what they do is they mix it in with boxing, right? So that's why I told you he got to co-main event, and they had the influencers being the main event. But the amount of, how do I explain it, exposure that he got from that event, because everybody was watching it for the influencers, and they got to watch him knock out his opponent. They were like, oh, this boy's good. Then you kind of like get also a different appreciation for it, because it's like, 100%. Thousands of people learned about him that had no clue who he was until they did this event.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me to what I was like alluding to with that whole statement, was Logan Paul going into WWE, and like, the idea of an influencer or a movie star, an actor, or whoever coming in and wrestling, you're like, oh man, this can't really be anything. And then you see Logan Paul main event a pay-per-view against the biggest wrestler, I don't even know, and I don't even know how long, of this generation.
A long time. Mm-hmm.
Wrestling for the biggest championship in professional wrestling. And me being a wrestling fan since the age of 3, and being on the edge of my seat, not knowing what's going to happen, that to me changed my whole perception. Like, props to him. He came in, looked like $1 million.
Yeah.
Maybe they can, and my dad made a very good statement, or he made a good point to me. He goes, isn't it kind of disrespectful to all the other guys and girls who have worked their entire life?
My nephew said the same thing.
To get to a point where it's like you're a Logan Paul is taking their spot off of TV, or a championship opportunity, or different things like that. Like, you start weighing the different sides, because if not for Logan Paul, WWE Saudi show doesn't double its numbers than WrestleMania.
They made it a point. Yeah, they made it a point on last night's Raw to show the video, which is still so badass that he did that he taped, right, when he did the high flying spot, and he did it while videoing it. And they made it a point on Raw to tell you that 40 million people have viewed that. That was posted by him first. Obviously, WWE reposted it, blah, blah, blah. And that is what it's about. Like, I know that a lot of times, as nostalgia and as hardcore fans, we want to be against this in sports and other things. Like, we don't want these outsiders coming in. But it's just like, if the product is not growing and the numbers continue to be the same week after week, you do have to do something to put new eyes on the product. You do. And that's exactly how you do it. So there has to be a balance, and not just in wrestling, like we were just talking about in boxing. That did, my cousin was able to get 2 fights after he did that. And I guarantee you a lot of it came from people that were watching that event. So I do think there is a benefit from celebrities doing these kind of things, like expanding into other ventures and sports and bringing new eyes to the product. I 1000% believe that.
Yeah. Like I said, it can go, so many different ways, and there's so many different lanes you can go. And I'm still up in the air about it. I think it's good for business, but it also, I don't know. It is what it is.
I saw a lot of that, and it's like, what happens to these guys that are sitting in the back that have been working their whole life for a main event, and now Logan Paul comes and takes it. I see a lot of those kind of like, points. And to your point, I think my cousin should have main evented that show because he was the real boxer, But
Exactly.
the tickets were sold for the influencer. So
Yeah.
I think it's a good debate, and like you said, it's probably a topic that can be talked about forever.
Yeah.
But I do think that people have to realize that wrestling is not what it once was, and boxing is not what it once was. And maybe adding these things that we might not be happy about, but it does bring some eyes to the product. And what makes you think that somebody didn't watch that match because of him, fell in love with wrestling, and now they're going to go back and rewatch and catch up and continue to watch and become a forever
Exactly.
fan? You
Yeah.
never know how many fans were made that night just because this guy came in and did a match.
Yeah. His third one, by the way, his third match. Insane. But the next topic we have here, it's pretty funny actually. Kathy Griffin
Oh my God.
gets suspended from Twitter for impersonating Elon Musk. And that wasn't the funny part. The funny part is what Elon Musk, his rebuttal to the whole situation. So let's backtrack here. Elon Musk has purchased Twitter. I don't know how I feel about it. From the looks of it so far, I'm not a fan. Apparently, you're going to have to pay to have the blue check mark to be verified on Twitter. You're going to have to pay like $20 a month, which I don't know. I don't agree with.
A month, Joe. It's $8 a month. Don't exaggerate.
No. The $8 a month is for something else. It's for the Twitter Blue subscription. Twitter Blue is $8 a month. That's a different.
Okay. Well, right now it's $4.99, so I guess they're raising the price on that because Twitter Blue already exists.
Yeah, Twitter Blue, you basically get to like edit and different. I don't know. I'm not aware of that, but they stated that to have the verified check mark, it'll be $20 a month to keep it, which is insane.
Well, he tweeted 8, so he lied.
Oh yeah, well, maybe I don't know. Maybe he's changing it. So Kathy Griffin impersonates Elon Musk on Twitter. She gets suspended. And then Elon Musk tweets out something along the lines of she basically should have been suspended because she impersonated a comedian or something like that. And it was hysterical. Now, I'm not too familiar with Kathy Griffin. I know that she does some acting and she's a comedian and she does some she's a host for a lot of things. What's your take on this?
That she'll never learn. This is not her first Twitter controversy.
No.
She did that whole Trump?
She did some stuff.
Yeah, she posted that photo shoot that she did, and it looked like she was holding his head with a knife, and she got Twitter taken away because of that. So you would think that somebody that's already been around the block with Twitter controversy would just tweet it slightly more carefully.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess Elon Musk should have known what he was in for when he purchased this platform too,
Yeah.
So it's I feel very 50-50 about it because it's maybe if this was a first time offense for Kathy Griffin, then maybe I'll be a little more lenient towards it because no, it's not the first time that she's not only when she did the Trump thing, she got Twitter taken away, but she also had a couple of controversial tweets that she tweeted that she got a lot of backlash for. Yeah. So it's once you get to that point, you should just use Twitter for marketing. Like tweet out what you're doing, your appearances, and stay away from giving your opinion. You know what I mean? It's I already feel like Twitter is such a weird place.
Yeah.
There is a lot of trolls, there is a lot of bots, there is a lot of people with a profile picture saying whatever they want.
Yeah.
So the whole point of the verification is people are going to have to attach a credit card. People are not going to be able to get away with saying some of the things that they say because there's going to be a different verification going into it. That part of me that gets a lot of stupid, hateful things sent to me, it's like, great, I'm glad, because I know those are the first kind of people that are gonna want to check mark by their names, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of criticism going Elon Musk way. But when it comes for somebody that already has gotten so much Twitter backlash, I would have stayed away from it. But she's a comedian, so it's almost like Elon Musk should have probably also been ready for this. I feel
Yeah.
like nobody wins in this situation, honestly. But
Yeah.
I do think that Elon Musk should have, like, I don't feel this is as controversial as when the whole, and I don't even like the guy, but when the whole Trump controversy happened with her, I didn't think she was coming back from that. So even
No.
when I heard that she was back on social media, I'm like, why would she even?
She got fired
Why
from a
would she
bunch
go
of
back?
stuff too. Like she was like a
Yes.
host for one of the New Year's Eve shows. She's done it every year
Yeah.
with Anderson Cooper. She got canned
Yep.
from that and a lot of different things. And
Yeah, so I was shocked to hear that she was back. So I feel like there's two things to take away from here. A, why is she still practicing horrible social media management? And
Yeah.
B, why doesn't he have a bigger backbone? If you're gonna purchase a social media platform, this
Yeah.
is what comes with it, and you're making some decisions that are controversial. He
Yeah.
should have been ready to take it all in, honestly.
Yep. And to kind of backtrack a little bit, I do stand corrected. You were right. So there is Twitter Blue right now. They have like a subscription thing right now. That's like $4. What they're gonna do is they're gonna revamp it or something, and that is what they're gonna use the $8 a month to get the verified account. So you were right with that.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
said
it already
20 before.
launched in some countries, as a matter
Yeah.
of fact. I'm a big Twitter, YouTube, I'm a big like nerd of this kind of stuff. So I've been following up with it pretty
That's good.
closely.
It's good to know that.
But yeah, the Twitter Blue already exists. They're just gonna raise the price. I thought
Yeah.
when he originally, the one thing that I was mistaken about is that I thought people were gonna have to go through a verification process
That's what I
like
thought
they
too.
do now.
Yeah.
Right, like, oh, if you're a public figure, you get the check mark, but you still gotta provide all these things and pay. But that's not the case. They really are gonna give everybody a check mark if they want it. But when I heard him speak about how now people are gonna have to attach a payment and an address and certain things that anybody can open a Twitter account now. So I personally, when I thought about it from that angle, I was like, that's not a bad point, because there is a lot of really hateful accounts. There's a lot of spam accounts. There's a lot of bot accounts. So, and now if you don't have that system, the one thing is that you're basically going to get shadow banned. So there's a lot of us, because I was one of the people saying, I don't care if I get the check mark. Like, it makes no difference to me. But it's Twitter is going to change, and your replies are not going to show, because all the verified people are going to show first. So he's basically going to force people into getting this check mark and paying this $8 a month if you want to continue using Twitter the way that it functions for you now.
Yeah. I have a feeling that there's more to this that hasn't been announced yet, in the sense of everyone's basically going to pay the $8 to get the check mark. And the idea of the check mark will change, where it's not like right now we look at the blue check mark as like celebrities, like big companies or whatever. I think that the check mark will become something of, you are a verified human, meaning you're not a bot, you're not a troll, you're not this, that,
Right. I would assume that at some point there's going to be like a color check mark system where it's like, if you have a pink check mark, then you're a YouTuber. And if you
exactly.
have because I also think that it should be different per person. Like right now, everybody, listen, I've sat down and have dinners in New York City with people that got a check mark just because they knew someone on Twitter. So the current system is flawed as well, right?
Exactly.
And a lot of people validate an opinion or a tweet just because it comes from a verified account. And that's not the way that it should be. However, once you start making everybody verify, how do we differentiate these people? I do think that there would eventually be some kind of level to where people have to double verify if they want to get some kind of different verification as a celebrity or public figure.
Yeah, Roman Reigns and I will not have the same blue check mark, being that we're both celebrities. It's not going to be a thing. There's going to be like a regular verification process to basically prove that you are a real person and your account is active and real. And like you said, having a credit card and address attached to that. Say if you do, write something hateful or you do something that can get you in trouble, maybe they'll fine you because they have your credit card information. Maybe you'll be fined for breaking their guidelines, which will prevent the hate and different negativity and different things, false
Anybody
information.
experience online trolls or hate?
Yeah.
Oh my God. They should probably be a little happy and relief about this coming out, because
Yeah.
then the people that don't have it, even they can continue to troll, but the replies are gonna get lost in the shuffle. They're not gonna show up first on your feed. Like it's gonna be borderline refreshing for some people. But
Yeah.
like I said, with these decisions that he's making, that some people are finding controversial, I don't necessarily. I feel like everybody's looking at their platforms and going, "Oh, we can make more money if we do this." Instagram now is
Exactly.
doing the super subscriptions as well.
Yeah.
Twitter, not only have they been doing Twitter Blue, but they have the Twitter super follows too, that you can do to
Yeah.
super follow an account and get special features. So I get it, but he should have been prepared for the banter and the backlash that was going to
Yeah.
come from making all of these changes right away, too, because he just took over. He just
Yeah.
took over, and for this many things to be happening so fast, he should have been a little more prepared for a
Yeah.
comedian to say something silly about him.
No, and I think, like I said, there's gonna be more to come from this, and it'll just be something where we'll be like, oh, now I get it. Like I definitely think celebrities are gonna get a different style check mark or something else to prove that the Kim Kardashian account is actually Kim Kardashian's account. Different things like that. So I definitely think that there's more coming, from that. But besides
I
that,
would think that the 100 million followers will be enough to prove it, but
you would think. But
Mhm.
yeah, Kathy Griffin, just I guess being Kathy Griffin. So
She'll never change.
she'll never change. So the next topic I want to discuss, Lindsay Lohan. Oh, Lindsay Lohan. She's acting again. First off, she did a Christmas movie for Netflix, and she just released a cover to Jingle Bell Rock. And a lot of people are saying it's a full circle moment from Mean Girls, because they did that thing on Mean Girls. And I watched the video of it. There is a rapping part of the song. It's a disaster. If you ask me, it's a disaster.
I haven't seen the video yet.
Oh
You have to send
man.
it to me, because I read about this, and now that you're telling me this, I'm disappointed because I was kind of happy. I was like, oh, because I love Mean Girls. Who
Yeah,
doesn't,
yeah.
right? But now that you're telling me this, like, okay, do I want to watch it then?
Like there's a rap part in the Jingle Bell Rock song. Like there's just some things that you just
You
don't have.
always gotta drop them bars, though. No matter what.
I don't know. It's Lindsay Lohan is just I don't know. I don't know how I feel about her. I respect the hustle because she's always trying to make a comeback, but
Oh
I don't
my
know.
God, look at Kenneth Wayne using my emoji on the chat. That means he's a channel member. Yay!
That's awesome. Kudos to Kenneth. Yeah, so this whole Lindsay Lohan thing, like obviously great timing, Christmas around the corner, doing, covers and new movies. Are you a fan of Lindsay Lohan as an actress, or are you more of a fan of Lindsay Lohan as a singer, like an artist?
None. I mean, I used to enjoy her acting back when she was normal.
Yeah,
Back
like
when she was normal, I loved her when she was doing these kind of movies like Mean Girls. Those were the days.
The Parent
Uh,
Trap.
but yeah, not even then. But but I just I don't know. There's just so much and so many opportunities that she got, and she kind of kept screwing things up. And then after that, but if I had to pick one, I would say her acting. When she
Yeah,
was on point, she was on point. And there is a couple of movies of hers that I watched. Like I said, Mean Girls is one of my favorites,
Mean
and that
Girls.
will never change.
Yeah,
But I just like the fact that she's still relevant after all the crap that she's been through. I mean, more props to her, and I hope that she's okay and healthy.
yeah,
But yeah, if I had to pick one, it would be her acting. Although she did have a song called Rumors, and that song slapped. I don't
yeah.
care what anybody has to
Stop
say.
for
I love that song.
years.
Yes.
Yes. And she did have a show. I don't know what it's called. She had a show a few years ago on
Oh, the one
MTV.
on the boat. Yeah, but it was like her employees. It was more of people
Yeah.
that worked for her at this venue that she was renting. Like you barely got to see her in this show.
So fun fact, I had a friend that I grew up with here in New Jersey that was on that show. And he was like a dramatic part of that show. And I don't know, I watched it because obviously my friend was on it, but that show was a disaster. Like it was just
It
was just
literally
not,
was.
and I think it got canceled after like one season. Like I don't think they ever.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't remember getting a lot of episodes. I remember, I think I watched 2, and then I was like, "There's no Lindsay Lohan here,"
yeah,
and then I
it
stopped
was like
watching.
she owned a bar and it was all a bunch of bartenders and they sent them to Greece or something like that. Like I don't know what was
I
happening.
mean, it was a great setting, but there was no Lindsay Lohan. They used her name. It was a click and it was a bait and switch.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I'm just not. I've seen more negative headlines with her than positive, like in general over time, and I just don't think that it's something that you can come back from at that point. Like it's just she's known.
She also had that car movie, Herbie. Was that what it was called? I love that movie too.
Herbie Fully Loaded. Yep.
Yes, that was so cute.
Disney. Oh, and Freaky Friday. You can't forget
Freaky Friday with Jamie Lee Curtis.
That's probably my favorite one of hers.
Scream Queen. Yeah.
And we did talk about that a few weeks ago. How he agreed and Jamie Lee Curtis agreed as well to go in and do a new version of it. Or not a new version, like a sequel.
Yeah, no. I know. It's just they both gonna look so much older, and it's gonna make us feel so much older.
Well, what we can say from recent movies and different things, Jamie Lee Curtis, she'll never die.
Iconic. No, she finally got rid of Michael. Spoilers alert. I mean, Michael Myers died before Laurie. Come on, she's never gonna die.
Absolutely. So the Lindsay Lohan stuff is she's I don't know. In my mind, she's just labeled as like a disaster. Like she could do anything at this point. I'm just like, whatever. It's Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I hope she's okay, and I'll go back and for nostalgia factor watch these old movies of hers that I love. But I'm not running out of my way to see anything new that she's making right now.
No. And I see Ricky in the chat. Ricky says, hello. Hi, Isa. Nice meeting you, Joey. Nice to meet you as well, Ricky.
Couple of people in the chat today. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. I'm liking it. It's refreshing, to see new faces in the chat. So there's a lot of different movies and TV shows and different things, even music as well. Anything new that you're watching or you have watched recently? I know it's been a few weeks since we're on the show. So.
I know. So we always do this. I will say I have finally, a year late, watched The Batman. A lot of people were on my case about not seeing the new Batman, but it's very hard to keep my attention for 3 hours on something. Yeah. So that movie turned me off as soon as I saw the runtime. But I did watch it, and I pleasantly enjoyed it. I just think there was a lot of unnecessary dialogue that if you would have cut it and cut like a good 20, 30 minutes, it would have probably been a really good Batman. It's still in the top 5 for me, which I didn't think it would be. But Rob Pattinson did a good job as the Batman. I don't know if I bought him as emo Bruce so much, but as Batman, I really liked him. I've been watching. Yeah, I watched Love Is Blind on Netflix. Oh my God, what a shit show. So Love Is Blind, I watch, and what else did I watched a movie. Okay, sorry, I had to admit this out loud, but I watched a movie called Deadstream on Shudder, which is like the horror streaming service. Yeah. It was the campiest, most comedy horror there was, and I loved it. Man. I gotta tell you, Joey,
I love those. I love those.
Yeah, well, the guy that plays the main guy, for some reason, for a second, a few times in the movie, he reminded me of you.
Oh man.
But not personality-wise, because it's a little bit jerky. But oh my God, the movie is about a live streamer that gets canceled, and to try to make his comeback, he's gonna spend a night in a haunted house. And I'll leave it at that in case you do decide to watch it. But I'm telling you, it's campy. It's campy. It's humor. It's comedy horror. Yeah. But as soon as you give me a live streamer that's been canceled, I'm like, okay, I'm watching this. Yeah. No, that's hysterical. That you just sold it. Everybody in the chat as well. I think you just sold that. We gotta watch it. What is it called? It's called Shudder. It's a horror film stream service, and I do think they have like a 7-day free trial with it. I personally, it's the best $5.99 that I pay as a horror movie fan. There's so many movies that you're not gonna find just everywhere there. You know, when I was doing my Halloween movie rewatch for my ranking video that I made, it was the only place where I could find the original Halloween. So that's how I ended up signing up for it. And I gotta tell you, every time I got time off, I get on there and I find a silly movie to watch. And I'm having so much fun with that service. I'll send it to you when we get off the air.
I want to see that. Something funny just happened as we're talking. So you know how sometimes do you have a Mac? Is that the computer?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So you know how sometimes you get the little notification in the corner, like you get an email or something. I literally just got a thing from Netflix saying coming November 10th, Netflix.com, Falling for Christmas. Watch the trailer. That's Lindsey Lohan's new Christmas movie.
No! They're watching, Joey.
They're watching. Literally, as you're speaking, it like popped in the corner. I'm like, that's what I read on the article. Like, weird. Oh,
also,
man.
I just want to say in the chat to Kenneth, who is a Know Your News channel member, all my thoughts and prayers to you is I just read that he's preparing for Hurricane Nicole. And you guys, like literally, Florida just got hit, still not fully recovered from the last one. So sending lots of positive vibe your way, Kenneth.
Absolutely. And to everybody in Florida as well. I was just there a few days ago, and I just saw earlier today there's news of a hurricane, all this stuff. And I was like, how many times can this state... Like, I was actually in Tampa last week for a wedding, and I wanted to go down to Clearwater and towards the beach areas just to kind of like see like what the people are experiencing there. And I had like a storm there where I wasn't even able to go. So
yeah, it's been a weird season. Weird season. And this Hurricane Nicole, it formed funny. Like it just came out of nowhere. And it formed like in the middle of like usually they form like way back. This one, I started following this guy on YouTube. I think his name is like Mr. Weatherman or something. Listen, I follow a lot of weird stuff.
Clever name.
But I started following him when the whole hurricane happened here in Puerto Rico because I found his updates to be the most helpful. Yeah. And he's been talking about this system, and he's been talking about how it's going to form into a hurricane for like a week. And I'm like, bro, it's not happening. And then next thing you know, it's been crazy. Climate change is real, and we need to be cautious about it. Yeah.
Even Kenneth just said in the chat, late season. Absolutely. I know through the summer, almost into September, I remember seeing on the news, I'm like, you're talking about hurricane season. I'm like, this is like the first year there was no like named hurricane at all. And then we had, the one that
and then it happened. I never trusted. Wow. That's funny because I always say I don't trust them. I feel like clear to September just because Puerto Rico's known to be hit in September a lot. Yeah. But to see hurricanes which it is still hurricane season, but you just never see November hurricanes. The other day I'm doing one of my wrestling podcasts with my buddies on Wrestling Inc. And I'm in Puerto Rico, and I had the coldest temperature out of the three of us. One of them is in Canada. Keep in mind, I think it was Canada, Pittsburgh, and me, and my temperature was actually colder than the two of them. And I was like, I'm telling you, climate change is a real thing. People are just in denial about it.
So I'm in New Jersey, basically New York here, and I actually had yesterday come up on my, how on Facebook you get those memories come up, a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever. So last year. Today's November 8th. Last year, I was in like a snow jacket. Like it was cold out. Yesterday was 78 degrees here.
Well,
today
keep it that way. Keep it that way, please. No, Joey. Let's not, because I'm coming back. I'm coming back next week, and I know that I've been going back and forth. But the one thing that you get used to really quick. Is the nice warm weather. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go back to New York. I'm gonna see all my friends. I'm gonna stay for like a week and a half. And then I'm like, oh no, the weather. I'm like, everything that I own here in Puerto Rico is like short sleeve shorts. Thankfully, I still have my place over there with like my cold weather clothes are there. But I'm like, even going from the airport to my apartment is gonna be a nightmare for me. Like it's gonna be like a shell shock stepping out of 30-degree weather when it's 86 here.
It's a shock.
I just hope it doesn't snow. Like, please save the snow for after I leave, please.
No, I think even like what Kenneth said in the chat, like late season for everything, really. Like I think we're gonna have snow here in May. Like this is like
That's good. That's
everything
good.
is being pushed back. Where I'm okay with having like a warm winter. Like I'm completely okay with
Oh,
that.
I love having a warm winter. I remember one year, I celebrated New Year's Eve over there, and we were having like a rainstorm. I was like,
Wow.
I thought it's like a snow thing, you know. It was recently too. It was in New York, and it was
Yeah.
raining, not snowing. And I'm like, what is this?
The news people
It's weird.
they're predicting a horrible winter here.
Yeah,
So
I heard a couple of things about it. I'll
I
stay
don't know what that
happily here
means.
in warm Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
When people ask me, "Do you miss New York?" I'm like, I miss New York every day, but the weather this time of year, no. I'm
I
very
miss
happy
it
where I'm
until
at.
like October. Then I'm good.
Yeah. Like this is the few months that I'm okay not being there. But once when the weather starts getting nice in Puerto Rico, I do have in New York, I do have to say that that's when it hit me. Like when you start because Puerto Rico, we don't have the four seasons. That
Yeah.
is like one of the biggest culture shocks when people ask me what was the biggest thing when you first moved to the States. It was actually seeing the seasons because they teach us here about them.
Yep.
But nothing changes. Here is summer all year long. So when I first moved to the States and see the leaves fall, the snow, and then when you look at the flowers start to grow again, like it's beautiful. We don't get to see that. So, but we also get 80-degree weather all year
Yeah.
long. Anyways, back to reel it back in, another show that I have been really enjoying is The Challenge on MTV. I share with you that I'm a big challenge nerd.
Yeah.
I've been watching every episode, Survivor as well, and I'm having a blast watching these episodes. The Challenge is doing a season now where it's like a ride or die season. So
Really?
instead of doing the rivals and all the people that hate each other and pairing them together, they're actually paired up with like their favorite person in the world. And I
Wow.
actually feel like that puts a little extra drama and it's a little extra in the way they perform because you're performing for somebody that's gonna hype you up and you trust them. So it's been fun watching those as well.
I'm still watching The Voice. I know it's like my guilty pleasure, but they're doing something different this season. They're actually they're called they have a section called the knockouts where basically you get knocked out, you get voted off, and like they push you to the next event. And they're doing a three-way knockout. So basically, like Blake Shelton, for example, he puts up on the block three of his his teammates, and they have to compete against each other, and he gets to keep one, and then the other ones get to steal or whatever. So this is the first time they're doing a three-way. Usually it's head to head. Now it's a triple threat match, sort of say.
Does everything go? Is there no DQ?
Everything goes. Chairs and all.
So they can bring in a backup singer and just murder everybody else.
Yeah. No, so that's been good. And I started watching, I don't know if you're familiar with The Watcher. This show is incredible.
No, okay, it's the show about the New Jersey home, right? With the letters and okay, so I know the real story. I know the real story. Yeah. So I've been thinking about watching it just because I know the real story, but I also saw a review on YouTube and the girl was telling me that they changed a lot about the real story.
Yes.
So I'm a little iffy about watching it now because I thought we were going to get more of what really went down.
Yeah. I have a family friend who actually knew somebody from like the real person that they portrayed on the show. And he was telling my family, like it's not like how they portrayed it. Like there was definitely differences to the story, but
I typically so do you like it so far, even though they changed so much?
I like it just because like it's a show, you know. If you take the idea out that it's based on true events, like it's still a show, you know. Like there's
that's the thing. A lot of people have been telling me that they had no clue that it was from a real thing. They're loving it, right? But if you're like 100% familiar with the story, and I always avoid reviews for things I haven't watched. That's just like my thing. I like to go in with my own mentality. Yeah. But this one, I had YouTube playing, and you know how it keeps playing your next recommended, and I was cleaning the house, and next thing I know, I'm listening to a review of The Watcher, and I'm like, wait!
It's kind of like what we talked about.
And then I couldn't turn it off when she started talking. I was like, okay, I'll keep listening.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll check it out. Try to have an open mind about it. But I love this story, so I just have issues with them changing it.
Yeah, it's definitely a little different, but it's still enjoyable. I mean, like I said, we talked about this stuff with the Jeffrey Dahmer show where it was completely off and out of order and different characters and whatnot.
Oh yeah, there was a lot different in the Dahmer, and it didn't take away what I thought of the
Yeah.
show. But I did tell you that I didn't like it as much because I knew a lot. I have a hard time disconnecting what I know from the real story, but I'll try it with the Watcher. I'll keep you posted.
See, the Jeffrey Dahmer show, I went in without knowing the real story. The Watcher, I went in knowing the real story. So it's reverse.
But you can see how we can change your
Yes,
viewing experience a little bit. Mm-hmm.
Yes. I definitely like it going into it not knowing the real story better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like when you watch a movie based on a book.
Yes.
And you read the book.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, like, they change so much. Like, I was just talking about Rob Pattinson, but my God, Twilight the movie and Twilight the book is like two complete different things. They did better with the rest of the movies.
I only saw the movies.
I did. Oh my God. Oh my God. I went through the whole stage. I read those books in like a week, and those books were like this big. Like,
I remember them being huge.
It was bad.
Oh man. Yeah. See, Harry Potter. Yeah. Harry Potter I read, saw the movies.
No, I think I never read Harry Potter or watched any of the movies. Hunger Games. That's another one that I really got into. One. And then yeah.
There's so
the
many
movies didn't do. The movies were good, but the problem is that the books are a lot gorier. And I get it; they were going for a certain rating, so they had to not make it as But I felt more emotions reading the book. I always give Hunger Games like props for getting real emotions. Like when she finds out in the book that she's going back to the games, I was pissed. I closed the book and I was so upset. Or in the movie, it just felt like, okay, you're going back to the games, and it didn't convey the same emotion. And it's not Jennifer Lawrence. I love her as an actress. It was just the way that the script was written. Where in the book, it's been a long time since a book got that many emotions out of me that I swear to you, I closed it and I had to stay away from it for like a day because I was like, how can they do this to her? Like, so I feel like when you go into a show and you know the story, it feels very close to when you read the book and you have these expectations of what the movie is gonna be like.
Yeah. And before we wrap up here, I just wanted to throw in there too. I did get a chance to see the new Selena Gomez documentary on Apple TV.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic stuff. Really it touches on mental health and different things like that. But like, man, she's got a crazy story. If you haven't watched it, Issa, yourself, and also everybody in the chat, like, go watch that. I mean, it was crazy just to see what she went through, but also like taking her out of it and looking at in general what celebrities go through with their mental health. I mean, just insane stuff. And we're seeing it now, like with recently the passing of Aaron Carter, a child star. Like a lot of these people, they go through it. Like it's nothing compared to like you or I. Like we have our mental health struggles, but these people have been dealing with it since they're like 6 years old.
I feel like people just think that, they have all the money so they can get all the help. And it's just like, that's not how it works. There's certain things that money can buy, you know, and I wish people like that you just brought up, the Aaron Carter thing. I found that out, and it was one of the saddest things I've heard, because, he's been struggling for a long time. And man, like, I'm gonna watch it. Can I ask you one question? Do you like her friends or not like her friends? Because some of the videos that I sing about it is just people being very critical of some of her support system and the friends that she has by her side. So that's the few things that popped up on my feed that I watched. It was just people saying she needs a better support system.
See, I saw all those comments before I watched it, so I went into it already thinking, like, looking for it.
Yeah.
It goes both ways, because there's some moments in the show where you see her friends. I don't know the girl's name. She's a blonde girl. You'll see it in the show.
Or Raquel or something like that.
She's featured a lot. That's the one I think that they're talking about.
Yeah.
And there's some moments where she seems like a really good friend. And then there's some moments where essentially she looks at her as a regular person. And like, and I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Like,
sometimes I think it's a good thing. Sometimes I think it's a good thing, but sometimes you also have to recognize that they don't live life the same way that we live life.
That's the key.
But I do think, I don't know if has anybody close on your close friends or family, but if you know somebody that's like a big deal or a celebrity or whatever, I do think that they like when they come to somebody that don't treat them like, oh my God, it's you, because that's what they get all the time. But you should never not give them the respect and the recognition that they deserve for their accomplishment. There has to be a happy medium. But I do think that in the support system, they should find that person that just sees them as a regular person, because that has to be a nice escape for them.
Yeah. The whole documentary is basically about like her trying to be just Selena. Like take the celebrity away, take the Justin Bieber stuff away, take all the headlines and things she's been attached to, and just let her be her. And then I think the situation with the friend, like it's the reverse of that, where she's looking at her as a regular person, but mentally they're on a different level because she's been in the spotlight since she's 6 years old. She's been dealing with all this stuff. So you can't just go into it as like how you and I would, you know what I mean? It's a different, it's a different
level.
level.
Gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it out. I'm very curious about it.
I think it's
I watched I'm sorry, I watched this, I think it was a movie or a documentary on Hulu. It was called God Forbid, and it was about the oh my god, I forgot their names. The Christian family that ran Liberty College. And they had that whole mess with the pool boy. I gotta tell you something. Yeah. I never heard of this scandal before. It just showed up on top of my Hulu. Says you'll enjoy this because I watch a lot of documentaries. Yeah, I loved it. I gotta watch it. So if you have Hulu, you have Hulu, I suggest it to people. 1,000. I think it's called God Forbid or Money. It's something forbid, you know. Yeah. And I didn't know. I had to Google Jerry Falwell. Thank you so much, Kenneth. Yep. I had to Google these people as I'm watching because I'm like, I never heard of it. But the documentary was so well put together that even if you don't know who these people are, you're gonna sit down and you're gonna watch it. So I appreciated that. Yeah, there's a few ones I want to see. Now I want to see that one. That's gonna be on my list. Yeah. I haven't had a chance to watch the Barney documentary that everybody keeps talking about. I think that's on Peacock. Cool. I love how we never watch the same thing, so at least we live here with a nice to watch list. Yeah, it's basically about like how Barney was evil, or like the I don't know, something crazy. Still is. And then there's a new one about Casey Anthony coming out, like 11 years later. She's God, she's gonna talk. I responded to a tweet today where my friend Cher was like, "Why are they giving her a platform?" And I'm like, I don't know if you experienced true crime today, but they don't care about what's right or wrong. They care about views, monies, and being the top 100%. View documentary. And unfortunately, this woman breaking her silence after this many years, people will watch no matter what. I hate the thought of it, but people will watch. And if I tell you, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it. I can't stand her. I hated that whole trial, but I'm going to watch it. So we have a week. Everybody in the chat, we have a week. So if you haven't... we have a week to catch up, watch some of these documentaries, at least one. And we'll come back and we'll circle back next week on Tuesday. Again, everybody in the chat, thank you. This has been one of the most engaging chats we've had in a long time. Shout out to everybody. Kenneth talking about Barney and Liberty University. Sophie, we had a couple of people here. We appreciate you guys so much. Ricky, Cost TV, Killer of Demons, everybody that interacted. Thank you so much. Absolutely. And next week we'll talk about some of these documentaries and different things like that. But for everybody in the chat and listening right now, thanks again. And every Tuesday, you can find us here live at 3 p.m. If you have a trouble remembering, you can just say 3 p.m. Taco Tuesday with your favorite wrestling podcasters to talk about pop culture news. And our nice escape from wrestling, even though we always talk something wrestling. We need I'm gonna tell Jimmy, but we need like a count on the side, like a ting every time we mention something about wrestling, and see how many times we mention wrestling throughout each show. Yep. But listen, wrestling is pop culture, so I guess we can, it's about reading the fine print. You can mention it. Logan Paul, wrestling, all that stuff, all the good stuff. But again, thank you for everybody tuning in. Isa, where can everybody go and follow you and follow all the great stuff that you do? NYC Demon Diva, especially here on YouTube. We're trying to hit 20,000 subscribers over on my channel, and we're this close. It would be so nice if we could hit it before the end of the year. So you guys can subscribe to my channel over there to watch alongs for pretty much every major wrestling show. Absolutely, and let's help Isa get to that prestigious number. For myself, obviously, Joey Karni here. You see the handle there, at Joey Karni. I have another account as well. I am a wrestling podcaster as well, along with Isa. You can follow The Angle Radio or at The Angle Radio. And on YouTube, I'm just about to hit 13,000. So I'm pretty excited about that. So doing big things in the wrestling world, Isa. And I'm excited to see what's going to be next. And for everyone tuning in and listening, thank you again. And we'll see you next week. Bye.